According to their design, I think they do.
To call to order the June 11th meeting of the Shelby Township Planning Commission. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Dallo, absent. Ms. DeSico?
Here.
Ms. Casali?
Here.
Mr. Apone?
Here.
Mr. Wozniak?
Here.
Mr. Turner, absent. Chairman Moffett, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. Next item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by DeSico, support by Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item, approval of the minutes from the May 14th meeting.
So moved.
Support.
By Moore, support by DeSico. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This evening, we have 3 items of substance. The first, a public hearing, site plan number 18-18, Tom Veers, Living Grace Church. This is a public hearing, so I'll ask the secretary to read the notices published.
Charter Township of Shelby, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission for the Charter Township of Shelby, Macomb County, Michigan, has received a request for approval of the following special land use. Applicant Tom Veers, Living Grace Church, 1860 Gravel Ridge Drive, Rochester Hills, Michigan, 48307. Proposed use, church. Location, 2242 Auburn Road, south side of Auburn, between Auburn and DeQuinder. Site plan number 18-18 SLU-4. Sidwell number is as follows: 23-07-31-102-015. Legal description is as follows. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, June 11th, 2018, at 7 p.m. in the Shelby Municipal Building, 52700 Van Dyke, Shelby Township, Michigan, 586-726-7243, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the special land use application. The application for special land use and the site plan may be examined at the Planning and Zoning Department in the municipal building Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Written comments may be submitted to the Planning Commission at the above address prior to the hearing. Oral comments will be heard during the public hearing. This notice is provided pursuant to the requirements of Michigan Public Act 110 of 2006 as amended. Shelby Township Planning Commission, Jerome Moffett, Chair, Raquel Moore, Secretary. This is published in the Shelby Utica News on May 23rd, 2018. There were 83 property owners, and 3 applicants were notified by first-class mail on May 18th, 2018.
Great, thank you. 2 questions to the attorney. Ms. Denowith, did the publication meet all legal requirements?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then secondly, could you explain the uses under the present zoning and whether this special land use request is appropriate to this district?
Yes, thank you. The present zoning is a C1, which is a local retail business zoning. The request here is appropriate as a special land use. C1 local retail businesses set forth in section 3.13 of the Shelby Township zoning ordinance and pursuant to section 4.4. This is an appropriate special land use.
Great, thank you. To the secretary, did we receive any correspondence on this
No,
request?
we did not, Mr. Chair.
Great, thank you. Okay, the format for the public hearing will be as follows. I'll ask the petitioner to come up, state what they're requesting and the reasons for it. I'll then turn to the commission to ask any questions they have of the petitioner. I'll then open it up to the public to ask the questions, and then we'll bring the petitioner back up to answer the questions. This isn't a debate, so we kind of carry this pretty in a structured manner. So with that, I'll ask the petitioner to come up and state your name and address. Sure. You've got 2 addresses. 2 names. We're flexible.
I'm the architect,
Great.
John Miller, CRD Associates, 3903.
If you could speak into the microphone too.
3913.
They work so well now. I mean, this is crazy.
CRD Associates, 3913 Donley, Rochester Hills, Michigan, 48309.
Okay. And
Tom Veers, 1860 Gravel Ridge Drive, Rochester Hills, Michigan, 48307.
Okay.
We have submitted and applied for a special land use to locate our existing church that we're meeting in, just a rented facility right now to go into the mall, the address that was listed, and take 2 units there and convert them to a church space that would work conducive for our use. And we know that, it's a zoned retail operation, so that's why we have applied for the special land use to see if we can get approved to move into that location.
Okay.
So there's about 3,200 square feet of tenant fit-out space, no new exterior expression. The existing exterior facade stays as is. It results in about 32 parking spaces. It's seating for 96 people, and that's how that math works.
Okay. I guess to Mr. Veers, how many parishioners do you currently have? How many churchgoers?
We average between 30 and 40 per week right now.
Okay. Any expectations to grow your flock?
Yeah, it's always a goal, to grow, but we have plans in place. If we exceed the maximum capacity, we'll have, first option would be to have multiple services. We would just have 2 services,
Okay.
within a half an hour, one of others, so there'd be like 2 groups coming in and out. And then this is, we believe, a spot that is going to work for us now. We've leased or are potentially leasing it for a 3-year period, and at that time, we will, judge accordingly and move on to a bigger location if required.
Okay. Okay. To the board, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Wozniak?
for the petitioner, you realize there's a bar restaurant on the corner there at the Quinder in Auburn?
Yes, on the corner, yes.
You're okay with that,
Yes,
far enough away?
yes, sir.
Okay. And you're only using the building for 2 services per week?
Well, our standard church service, right now, we meet once. We meet on Sundays. But we have plans to have like small group type meetings, during the week. So it would probably be, 1, 2, maybe 3 nights during the week for a couple hours that we would, be having meetings there as well, from approximately like 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock, in that range.
Will you be doing any schooling for minors?
No.
Are there any other tenants in that complex right now, in that strip?
Yes.
Okay, you're okay with everybody there?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Back to the board. Any additional questions? Okay, thank you. So now, this is the only public hearing the Planning Commission will hold on this special land use request. All remarks will be entered into the record for Township Board evaluation. We are a recommending body, and the Township Board will evaluate our recommendation, which is a legislative body. The Township Board will make the final decision on this special land use request. So at this time, anyone is welcome to come ask any questions or state opinions. Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, back to the board, to our planner, Mr. Nguyen.
Mr. Chairman, we think this is a reasonable use, especially for a center that's had some ongoing vacancy issues. We're seeing more of this, with the abundance of retail space and the lack of tenants for them. So I think this is a way of getting people into that center and back to Auburn Road. So we're very much supportive of this.
Okay, very good. Any concluding remarks? Quit while you're ahead. All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this evening, our recommendation must be based on the following standards: compatibility with adjacent land uses, consistent with and promote the intent and purpose of the special land use, compatibility with the natural environment, consistent with the capacities of public services and facilities affected by the proposed use, protect the public health, safety, and welfare, and the adequacy of public access to the site. At this time, we may recommend approval, disapprove the request, or we could table it to evaluate it further. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Wozniak.
I move to recommend approval to the Township Board of Special Land Use Application 1818 SLU 9 to permit the occupancy of the vacant floor area in the shopping center for a church based on the following findings. 1, the reuse of this building will not likely generate nuisances for the single-family neighborhood to the south. 2, the shopping center has experienced significant vacancy rates over the years. 3, adequate parking is available on the site to accommodate both the church and retail tenants. 4, the church must comply with all applicable Shelby Township building and fire codes.
Support.
Okay, moved by Wozniak, support by Pone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner Wozniak.
Yes.
Commissioner Pone?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Casale?
Yes.
Commissioner DeSico?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Good luck.
Chairman Moffett, can you clarify what the next steps are?
I can. Next step is to the
Mr.
Township
Peters?
Board.
Mr. Veers?
So can I make a suggestion, though? You may want to begin talking to the building department, if you haven't already done so, about, getting their process underway so you can kind of go on both tracks simultaneously. Nice job.
Okay, next item. Oh. Can you get you to sign in too? Site plan number 18-20, Robert Savo, Detroit Sportsman Congress.
Evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to appear. My name is Robert Savo. I'm First Vice President of Detroit Sportsman's Congress, and we have submitted a site plan to increase the size, or actually build a new storage and maintenance facility or building on our property to replace the one that's currently there. The new building is outlined in yellow,
Okay.
and the building that is currently there is just off the right upper corner, a little more diagonal to the new building that's outlined in yellow. The original building that is there that we're using for maintenance and storage is a barn that's been on the property probably for over 100 years. We've owned the property since 1935, a couple of years before I was born. And it was originally a horse stable, and it's seen better days. Structurally is starting to show wear and tear. We looked at possibly remodeling it, but we really don't have enough room, even putting that kind of money, because once you do a structural stuff, it's sometimes better to raise it than to try to patch it up. So we are looking to put up a steel building, quite a bit larger, so that we can get all our equipment inside. Currently, we have attachments to our tractors and mowers that are around the outside of the building with blue tarps on them, because we don't have room in the current, we call it the old barn, in the current barn. The new building will be the same color scheme as the other buildings that are on the north end. The small building to the upper left is the office. The larger building is a clubhouse, and the barn will come down after the new building has been constructed, so we can move our equipment over. From a beautification standpoint, from a space standpoint, and actually security standpoint of our own personal property at the club, we felt this was the way to go. All steel building doesn't present the fire danger that the current barn with 100-plus-year-old timbers in.
Therefore, don't oversell it. The historical folks will be on you.
I don't think Shelby Fire Department would like to make a run out there. This was a pretty, as we did some research on sizes and whatnot, this building was actually more cost-effective than getting one that was a little bit smaller, but more than doubles the size of what we currently have. One-story building, non-occupied, no water, no utilities, bathrooms or anything. It's just a storage building with, basically it'll have electricity, so you can turn the lights on and stuff. So that's kind of it.
All right. Mr. Aliff, you were reviewing this one?
Yes, this site's in an R1A zoning district, so this is a non-conforming use, and this is just an expansion on it. Generally, this plan makes the site safer, as you said. It eliminates a 100-year-old building with a nice new steel one. There's only 3 issues that I really had a concern with. The fire department indicated they need to see a fire hydrant within 250 feet of every area of the building, and a fire access lane within 150 feet. One of the difficulties we saw was the utilities were not represented on the plan, so we really need to see where everything is, including the septic systems. The western side of the building, even though it's new, it is facing DeQuinder, and we'd like to see The western side of the building is facing DeQuinder, and we'd like to see a little bit of beautification, either a decorative siding type or some increased landscaping to kind of shield the building, considering it is much closer to the road than the existing one. Other than that, there's no significant issues with the plan.
There is a fire hydrant. It may have not been indicated on the drawing. It's just
I don't
off the-
believe it's close enough to the building at DeQuinder.
Okay. Yeah, it's approximately here.
All right, so that's, irregardless of, that's something we're gonna need documented and delivered to the planning department.
Yep.
Okay.
And the beautification afterwards, that's not a problem.
I didn't think so.
We planted trees every other places. And septic is currently between the clubhouse, the building largest, and to the, I guess, north of the drawing, and the old barn.
Good.
Grass area between there.
Yeah, we're gonna need it on paper and delivered, so,
Okay.
great.
No
Mr.
problem.
Chairman?
Mr. Nguyen.
Just one, I think we did approve a Class B or Class A non-conforming use here a number of years ago, and it seems like, while the site was built years ago, every few years, the club comes back and it makes more enhancements. So, they've been doing a really, I think, really good job.
They've been
Appreciative of that.
they've been real good citizens of the township for
Absolutely.
a long time. Yeah, that's absolutely recognized. So any questions for the petitioner or the planning staff?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Wozniak?
for the planner, a demo permit for the old building?
Yes, that would be the normal course as part before they would have to get that from the building department.
Okay, and we'll go out and see if there's any hazardous materials.
Oh, the building would do that,
Okay,
or fire, but I wouldn't know what, what to do in that situation.
yeah, all right. Yeah, I imagine a building that old might have something in it.
Could be.
Could be,
Once
yeah.
we get it gutted out, we'll know for sure, Doug,
Yeah. When are you planning on doing this?
as soon as we can.
Okay. And you're doing a mining operation there right now, or it looks like what are you going after? All of
Florence Concrete is doing the lower half of DeQuinder, and they have put their concrete making station, there's a name they call it, on our
Okay.
property. I mean, they're renting the space now because it's really close to where they have to deliver the concrete, and running trucks shorter distances costs less money, so I'm sure it's built into their bid. And we're gonna get them to do our concrete work if this gets approved, because they'll have to
great.
run the trucks even a shorter distance, so I had to get the best price from Florence.
I had a friend of mine try to tell me that you guys were going after all the shotgun pellets that were down. I said, no. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Casale.
I move to approve site plan application 18-20 Detroit Sportsman Congress located at 49800 DeQuinder Road on the northeast corner of DeQuinder Road and Jungle Street, subject to the submission of a revised plan addressing all department comments and the approval of any required variances by the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Support.
Okay, moved by Casale, support by DeSico. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner Casale?
Yes.
Commissioner DeSico?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Pone?
Yes.
Commissioner Wozniak?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, do I submit something in writing on where the septic is, or change that plan or something?
Give me an updated plan with all of the utilities where the hydrants are and the septic.
Okay, if it's actually more than 250 feet, does it matter if it's a straight shot to it?
You'll have to add one.
Mr.
add a
Chairman, I think the
hydrant.
best thing to do is you should go talk to the fire marshal.
Okay,
He'll tell you what he needs.
okay, very good.
We're just referencing his comments, and we're not qualified to answer more
Okay.
directly.
But, yeah, but until they're satisfied, it doesn't go forward, so.
Okay, yep. All right, I can handle that. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, site plan number 18-08, Michael Hull, Heartland Dental. I was gonna say, if it's not you, we're gonna cut this meeting short.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Michael Hall. I'm with Buckle Design Group, the civil engineer representing the owner on this project. 3471 Donneville Street, Duluth, Georgia, 30096. The plan is to develop the corner parcel there. I think there's 4 parcels referenced. in the notice here. So the 4 parcels, we're planning to combine them all and then subdivide out 2 lots. The subject lot is supposed to be a dentist office, is what they want to do. I think there's 36 parking spaces.
Should make sure you talk into the microphone. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, they're looking to do 36 parking spaces there. They have a relatively high turnover, so they're going to make sure they can get everybody in and out of there. We realize there is a resident to the back, so we increased the setback as much as we could to shield that resident back there. We've increased the landscaping, and we put the stormwater management pond back there and graded that in at kind of a gentle slope to kind of soften the view back there. The driveway proposed on each road, it's 30 feet wide. It's going to provide interparcel access to the both lots. The south lot will connect to it at the time it develops. If you've looked at the site plan, it's dashed in there. We don't really know what that's going to look like right now. That's just kind of what could be there. So we're not proposing to develop that piece on the south. But those drives are there to connect to it anyway. We've stubbed utilities down to that lot, so if they develop out, they can just connect and not have to tear up anything that we've put in. What else? You guys can interrupt me anytime if you have questions too.
Yeah.
I'm running out of gas. We've got 1 dumpster shown on there at this time. It's screened per the ordinance. It shouldn't be visible to that resident to the east, with all the landscaping and the screening. And we've increased. We've got a pretty good setback from the street, from Van Dyke, and from Crawford. Sorry. So hopefully, you find, and everybody finds the plan is consistent with the zoning ordinance. That's what we tried to do. We try to do our best to be good neighbors. So, you guys ask me any questions you
Okay,
desire.
very good. Mr. Nguyen, you want to?
Sure.
Your thoughts?
Many of the comments we had on our list have been corrected. The zoning has been identified. Normally we'd ask for a wall in these situations, but they have more distance and more screening, so the wall would be ineffective. I think this is a more effective option. There may be at a time in the future a need for a cross-access agreement, depending on how they split these parcels up. There is a requirement for a sidewalk on an easement for the sidewalk on Crawford. Fire hydrants within 250 feet of all parts of the building. Comments 7 through 11 are road commission comments that you'll have to address at engineering. Mike, do you have the elevations?
I didn't bring the
Okay,
elevations.
but you can see the elevations. It's a really attractive building.
Yeah.
This is an extraordinarily good site plan. I mean, not only did it meet the requirements, and in most cases, they exceeded them. So we're pleased to recommend approval. There was one sticking point, and we were dealing with our engineer regarding the stormwater detention for that property to the south. That hasn't been fully resolved, but, we'll get to that point when we get this building. And Carol just offered that as a placeholder. So, Mike's aware of that, and that'll be taken care of at the next step.
Okay.
We're confident that, North Van Dyke is really starting to turn out nice with the kind of development we're seeing there. Really nice. And this will really set a nice standard for that area.
Okay. To the board, any questions for the petitioner or for staff?
Just one, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Wozniak.
Right now, you've got 4 parcels.
Right.
You're going to put them all together.
Mhm.
And then you're going to, depending on whatever goes on the south end, you're going to redivide the parcel.
Yes. So likely during the next step, we will subdivide out right along the middle of that drive aisle that goes across the bottom.
And then you'll have ingress, egress, reciprocals.
Yep, there'll be cross-access easement agreements, maintenance, stormwater access, and utility easements.
Yeah, and on the south side of that dental building, you've got either heavy-duty asphalt or standard concrete?
Yes, I've got heavy-duty asphalt around the perimeter of the whole thing right now, I think.
Except in the back.
So, yes, so it's on the bottom and on the right side, the south and the east.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to recommend approval to the site plan application number 18-808, Michael Hull, Heartland Dental Office, located at the southeast corner of Van Dyke and Crawford Street, between 25 and 26 Mile Road, subject to the submission of a revised plan addressing all department comments and the approval of any required variances by the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Support.
Okay, moved by DeSico, support by Pone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner DeSico?
Yes.
Commissioner Pone?
Yes.
Commissioner Casale?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Wozniak?
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Good luck with your project.
All right, thank you.
Planning Director's report, Mr. Nguyen.
Just to point out, we had 25 sign applications last month and 6 temporary use permits. And could I have everybody's plans back for the dental site, because we can recycle some of this? No, just theirs.
All right,
That's all.
that's it. Who's gonna, Mr. Dowler's not here. Who's gonna adjourn us?
Can't leave.
Motion to adjourn.
Been moved, is your support? Moved and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.
Carl, the packet was still over.